Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And Scotty Allwood.
War of the Worlds 2, Episode 5, and Paulie We Trust. Watched by, oh my god, this is a huge dip. I mean, we mentioned this before. 0.60. Last episode was 0.72, yeah. I mean, is that just Laurel people?
There were a lot of Laurel fans.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And now all the Bananas fans are gone? What do we do?
I'm really surprised by that. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be. Again, they're hour-and-a-half long episodes. It's going to be different regardless, but it's been a good season. This was a great episode.
Oh. You know, I kind of came into this like, I don't know, I didn't really feel too much. I think what it was, and I mean, we'll get into the episode rightfully, but I think it's the mission. There was a couple questions in there where I'm like, well, what was the point of getting the hook? It just seemed like you would just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because even if you missed it, you just went on.
Yeah, so
along with the person.
Yeah, it was a bit toothless. I guess that's what I'm gonna use. And then for the elimination, I mean, spoilers. Bananas goes. He always goes now, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset that he's gone. I was actually enjoying his presence this season just because it was very much in the background. I didn't have to deal with him a lot. But this episode in particular, I did like him just because it's like him versus Paulie and Kara, and I'm not a huge Kara fan. But when it came, we can get to that later, but...
But he is the challenge, Scott. We gotta...
That is a direct quote from him this episode, yeah.
Well, actually, it's one of the first things said in this little scene. We're gonna do this right before the mission because it's all about...
You're gonna skip all the stuff before?
No, the team... No.
I took some detailed notes, bro.
I did too. I have 2 pages.
Oh wow.
My gosh. No, I just wanted to mention at the beginning, it's basically Paulie and Kara, and more specifically the scene is, versus Bananas. But then it comes down to Bananas versus Paulie for Josh's soul, or his vote. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That whole scene was super bizarre to me. If you just want to go ahead and get into that scene.
No, that's it. I mean, discuss. They're basically, I think Bananas comes in at first, and he's like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, when he comes in, it's Josh, Zach, and Tori, and they're all kind of just discussing whatever about who's going to be the speaker, and then Bananas comes in, acting super weird, like, oh, what's going on, like you said. And then that's when he starts trying to get Josh. Josh is sitting there like, oh yeah, make me the speaker. Cool. And I'm loving this at this moment because then Paulie walks in and then Josh is like, oh, I was thinking I was going to be the speaker, you know? And Paulie's just straight up, yeah, that's not going to happen. Just shuts him down immediately. And what was confusing to me with this whole thing is that Bananas, I know he is realizing he needs to work with the team, and now he's kind of like, oh, I need to get on Kara and Paulie's good side. But at the same time, why are you agreeing to anything about Paulie being the speaker? Why is it only him, being talked about him being the speaker all of a sudden when there was Josh, Zach, like anyone else could have been speaker, but suddenly Paulie just walks in and goes, no, I'm just going to be speaker. Like, I promise I won't say anyone on this team's name.
It was actually those 3 that were there to begin with. Banaz walks in and he's like, what's going on, guys? How about you 3 right here, Josh, Zach, and Tori, are going to be in the tribunal? That's what he told them.
Right.
And that was the plan. And the way that Josh tells Paulie, as soon as Paulie shows up, Josh is almost like, they're trying to make me their, like their mouthpiece, but I was not sure. You know what I mean? Like he's very kid-like. The friendship between him and Paulie is very. I mean, it's basically broken at the end of the episode.
Which is funny because Josh promised that he was going to vote for so and so, and then threw in Wes. So I was like, dude, you did the same thing to him, but first. Why are you saying that the friendship is over? Like, who cares? He sent Bananas in. Whatever.
They pull in a team meeting, and it basically comes down to where Kara's like, oh, it's so crazy how, we have to do what Bananas wants us to do. Like, he's the challenge, and then that's when Bananas like, I am the challenge or something like that. Which, to be fair, I've said about him. I was like, he's actually become part of the challenge. He's not the challenge, but he is a challenge.
Well, I hate the fact that fans have gotten so used to him on the show that if he's not on it, they're like, "Where's he at?" Well, we're never gonna know because he just keeps on being every season. But now he's making people, the viewers, think that as well. Oh, if he's not on the show, it's not the challenge. He brings all this entertainment, which I think is baloney. Vince, baloney, because everyone brings something to the table for the most part. I mean, there was a season where he was writing fucking notes.
Oh,
What the fuck was that? That's all he
and
did
it
that
didn't even
season.
pay off or anything like that. I remember
Stupid as
that. It was
fuck.
so dumb. Vendettas, I think. Was it Vendettas?
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my god, so goddamn
Yeah.
bad. But I'm really curious now. Wes, okay, I say it almost kiddingly, but like Bananas does have his fucking followers, and this was watched for very few people, and now he's gone. I think the thing is that the exciting people, like the names, were all getting eliminated in War of the Worlds 1, right? And that what was so cool, right? Like veterans going home in the new blood and shit. But now, yeah. But now I think it's the most exciting characters are gone. Like Wes was War of the Worlds 1
Right.
to me. You know what I mean? And Laurel is always the season that she's
Right.
on. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, this is Laurel's season. So I think that double whammy right there might be hurting it. I don't know.
I don't think it's as deep as what the show actually is showing or doing. I think it's just other television shows being on at the same time, just people's lives for whatever reason affecting the actual ratings. I think the show has its core fans and they're just going to watch however they're going to watch. I mean, we don't even watch it live. I do want to talk real quick about Kara is like hating Bananas, and she's on the whole I hate Bananas.
She's
train
back
now.
on.
And
She's back on the wagon.
She was talking about, or yeah, but John was talking to Theo and Ginny, and kind of just like bad-mouthing Kara, saying, "Oh, she's never really had her own identity. You know, years we hated each other, and then we worked together until Paulie came into the picture, and now they're at odds again." And I just thought that was interesting because now Kara's back on the I hate John train, and then, but because she brings up, oh, you know, he's backstabbing, he's backstabbed all these people he's made deals with, he throws challenges, this, that, I can't, or she says something like, you can wait for karma, you have to be karma. I don't think she understands karma, but I do want to point out that, like, what you were friends with him and working with him, knowing all this stuff before, and he never turned on you and Paulie turned on him basically. So it was just super weird because later on she's talking and crying to Josh about how badly Bananas has treated her in the past. Bitch, you were friends with him for like 3 seasons and working together and doing promos and stuff outside and hanging out on Instagram. I'm so baffled by this because it's such a reason as to why she sends him in and stuff. Like, she's dead set on it.
Let's remember that she fake cries
super
at
weird.
that bar with Josh. Remember that? We'll get back to that subject when we get to it. Like, I wrote a lot of shit, but that is very significant. I like that you brought that up. Well, we get into the mission basically called Hooked, where I mentioned this before. Like, what did TJ say? He's like, I'm basically 50 years old now, but this is gonna be sick. And I'm like, stop. Like, you know, like I understand that is his true vernacular, his true parlance or whatever. Like, he grew up, he's a skater dude or whatever. But like, I'm like, oh god, I'm younger than you, TJ, but I still wouldn't say that shit. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love that TJ bothers you so much in that sense. Because I'm just sitting here like, okay, he's just doing his catchphrases, whatevs. But you're sitting there like, stop it, you're a grown-ass man.
You mentioned notes, man. I wrote everyone who versed everyone, and I wrote their times.
I knew
I was
that
gonna
you
say,
would.
does that even interest you, though?
Yeah, when I was watching the episode, I love that they're able to focus. I think it was like 20 minutes of the episode was focused solely on this mission and showing everybody going. There was a weird, like, 2 minute period where they showed like four pairs going, but for the most part, they showed a good amount of everyone going and how well they were doing and giving them all confessionals and about how they were doing. It was super fun to watch. I really enjoyed the specifics of seeing everybody go because usually they'll just blow it by and be like, "Oh yeah, they had this time."
Did you notice this though when it happened? Because when I was writing my notes, basically everyone had their own little segment, and like you said, while they're swimming, they're like, "Oh my god, this really, it must be done," and shit like that. For everyone got their time, except for Leroy and Bear. Why they were the last ones to go? Why not include that?
I assumed it was because they wanted the viewers on the edge of their seat. They don't want to show both times.
You think fans are just like calculating this shit? Like,
no,
oh my god!
As I said that, I'm like, what? We're not sitting here able to like add all these numbers together as we're watching it. No one's doing that shit. They really could have. Bear beat Leroy, but do you think he beat him by more than 1 minute and 17 seconds, or whatever they won by?
Oh right, right.
I don't know. We'll never know. They could have manipulated it.
That's so funny. I get angry about TJ. Like, he could do nothing, and I'm like, God damn it. And the same thing goes with Leroy. Like, the fact that not mad at Leroy, but just mad at the producers because they didn't show Leroy's time. I'm like, he probably was really fucking slow. We're adults. We could handle knowing that Leroy can't swim. You know what I mean? But no, you gotta love Leroy so much. You're like, no, we gotta, oh my gosh.
Anyway, so the mission is... Did you already explain the mission as to exactly what it was? You stand at the top of this platform, and there are two long zip lines going to the water. Each person is given a hook. You're supposed to run, jump with the hook, hitting a ring, and then using this ring to slide down till you hit the water, and then you swim out a few hundred meters, they made it seem like, go around a barrel, and then go up to where TJ is standing with the horn. It's another platform that they just have to touch. And then they take all the times and combine them together and see who had the fastest time.
But like we said, there was a couple things that just didn't make this work, right?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense because if you didn't hit the ring with your hook, you still just slid down fairly easily. And a lot of the times when you were watching the people hit the water, it was still the same amount of time. Like, they were neck and neck with the person who did hit the rings, so it didn't matter. They were both getting... It was just essentially just a swimming mission from that point, just swimming around the barrel and getting to the spot.
I want to mention, why is it that the girls got the guys got rings to, like, for their target, and the girls got giant hoops?
Did they? I did not notice.
No, yeah, they totally did.
Detail.
Like giant nooses you could put your head through, but the guys had like little bitty like holes to make it in.
That seems unnecessary. I feel like running and jumping, and the girls didn't need an advantage to get this hole. Yeah, that seemed unnecessary.
Are you interested? I don't know. Should we go one by one or pair by pair? What do you want to do?
Oh, fuck. Yep, sorry, it froze again. Am I interested in going one by one? That is a question we should be asking the viewers. Like, they watch the episode. Do they care? Because, we are very aware of how well each person was doing. We can just talk about who did well and who did bad. Ninja, right off the bat, going very slowly. Zach was very angry. Everyone was very angry at this point because it looked like she was just kind of like throwing the mission. People were like, oh my God, she's throwing the mission. She was just like lying on her back, going around in circles. Yeah. It seemed like she wasn't trying. I don't know. She made it afterwards. She was like, I really was trying. It sucks when people see your faults and then just harp on that instead of saying, you tried. Yay. Bitch, you took almost as long as Esther, the worst competitor there. Like, no one's going to be patting you on the back saying, hey, whatever.
It was really weird that she was following a cloud in the sky. No wonder she was like going around in circles, swimming the other way. You know what I mean? It was like ridiculous.
Yeah, at one point she said she was following that cloud and just trying to, Weird.
It's totally fucking weird. But she was going against Jenny, who turns out to be the fastest woman and the fastest, I believe, out of everyone. The second fastest, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, she even mentioned, "Oh, I think I put a target on my back right there for being." Everyone already knew you were the best girl on your team, so don't even. It doesn't matter. We did see a lot more of her this episode, which I appreciated them doing.
Sure. Yeah. Next we have Jordan versus Idris. See, already I don't want to go pair by pair.
See, we don't have to. Jordan went the fastest, and I love it because when Turbo was going, he was talking mad shit about Turbo in this interview about how Turbo is going slow,
Right.
and how he is the best. Like Jordan himself is the best challenger there, and he's not afraid of Turbo. And I was just like, yeah, Jordan, go boy! Like I'm digging you this season. Are you digging Jordan?
Not really. I think it's really complicated when it comes to Jordan. It's really bizarre. First of all, he's still my goddamn woman. Back when I liked Tori, you know what I mean? I always found that like kind of annoying. I'm like, what? Ah.
I don't like you, and then you had to go for her.
Okay. You know what? I like the freedom. I like the fact that in the other podcast we just kind of shot from the hip, and we're just like, this is what happened, and we would just kind of surmise everything.
Sure.
I don't want to go.
And now we're trying to go back to the notes, how we did in the past. And it's, yeah, I'm getting myself just like, oh, fuck, like we should stay in order and trying to be more professional with this. But it's just confusing us and making us look like idiots. So I guess we should just go back to free balling it. Is that a thing? You call them saying free balling it? I don't know. Who to throw in? Oh, yeah. So Americans won. Anyway. Americans won.
That was another thing that kind of made it suck again. America's won again. That's another thing. Like, there's a lot of things that just kind of happen in this
I feel like
episode.
they should have just said the UK won at this point. All right. They were close enough. They beat the Americans.
Oh, just make it up. Just fucking let the producers.
They do that all the time. They can't act like they haven't done that before with times.
It's probably just because it's too juicier if the Americans keep winning, especially with how things have been going down, man.
True,
right?
True.
Oh, let me ask you this real quick. Have you ever done that in your own challenges where you're like, I'm just going to adjust the numbers here, let Jordan win again? Why not? Oh my God,
I'm trying to think of.
I've never done it, Scott. If someone asked me
I'm like running through everything. I want to say no. There are times where I don't know. It's just I mean, that's a whole other discussion because I'm sitting here like running through 20 seasons of my show trying to be like, what the fuck? I didn't expect this, being put on the spot. I try to keep it as fair as possible for everybody. That's so, yeah. I don't think that I ever did that.
That's crazy, man, because for me, it's like, if you're going to produce a show that stems from a reality show where things might seem a little shitty or shifty or whatever, you would think, I'm not going to do that.
Right,
You're just
I don't
like,
think
I'll leave
that
it
I did.
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to give you
I don't
shit.
think I did.
All right.
It's been years, goddammit.
Nominations. It's Paulie, as predicted, as told. And then he picks Carr and Jordan. And then we're going to go into nominations where I just have Theo's 7-minute monologue.
Oh my gosh.
Versus Rogan.
I love Theo, man, but this was so ridiculous for him to do. Okay, so yeah, he gives a 7-minute long speech. I didn't write down any pinpoints of what he was saying, other than the fact that, like, I think, I don't know. I don't remember. God damn it, the one time we need some goddamn notes, we don't have them.
So it's basically just against Rogan. Rogan has the numbers. This is a bad idea to be putting in Theo, right? Who gives a shit? I mean, he is wearing on people apparently. Like almost everyone's going to say like he's very cocky.
I did love the fact that Theo, like, because Rogan started coming at him. He's like, "Oh, you're talking shit and stuff," and he's like, "Because I got drunk one night and was saying stuff." Like, what? Like, what are you mad? Trying to throw me in because of that?
I love that when he was like, "You're mad. You're all mad." Just very British of him. It was great. I loved it.
I love it.
I was really felt like I was in the presence of a colonial. Um, oh, but this is great because Kyle is like, he's like pointing to those three, Paulie and Jordan and Carr. He's like, we're doing their fucking game right now. We are literally putting in our best person right now. Like, we have to stop this. And Kyle's stepping up, and CT's not really saying anything, which will lead into what
Oh
happens
my
next.
gosh.
So Theo's voted in, right?
Yeah, okay, so I want to pinpoint who voted for Theo. It was Rogan, Esther, D, Josh, Idris, Kaylee, and CT.
Josh. What was Josh doing there?
Sorry, not Josh. Joss.
Okay.
Joss.
Josh.
And CT kind of looked around at first before he threw up his hand. He was like, okay, yeah, we are voting him in. And then he raised his hand. And I'm sitting there like, CT, you're smarter than this. What are you doing throwing in Theo? There has to be a better option in
Yeah.
your mind. Why would you want to get rid of Theo? To me, it makes no sense. He mentions later when they get into a little scuff about how they haven't even like really talked to each other, or like really had anything against each other. They were just playing the game and whatever. So for him to be, I guess he's aligning with Rogan and Joss. So I mean that makes sense as to why he would do it. But I don't know, man. I'm trying to like think of it from their perspective. Okay, so let's say Rogan, if I was Rogan's friend Joss, Rogan, you're trying to put in Theo. I know you guys don't like each other, but he's a fucking badass. He came in second on the hardest final ever. No, we cannot put him in. I do not give a fuck. Bear says something to the extent of, I'd rather be running a final with someone who's treated me shit like shit all season and win the final still and get that money. That's said afterwards, but it's a great point. Like what, and they are playing the other teams because they would be wanting to put in Theo regardless. The other team would want to be. So you're putting in one of your own people who's already strong, and guess what the other team's going to want to do? Throw in a strong player. So you're just going to lose one of your strong players. That doesn't end up happening, luckily for them at this point. But that's what they were setting themselves up for. I believe someone on the other team even said, the Americans were like, they already have, I think it was Jordan, they already have Theo in there. Let's throw in Rogan. Boom.
Right.
You're an idiot, Rogan. You just put in Theo, and now you could potentially have to go against him.
So when everyone takes off and it's just Theo in the tribunal, Theo basically says, I'll go against CT because he wants to stay in the middle the entire time, and once he sees someone who's in power or who has numbers, he'll vote that way, like we just seen earlier. So to me, I was like, "Wow, this is kind of cool." Theo really is just like, I mean, yeah, I'm cocky, but I have a very good sense of myself, and I'm sure I could take down CT. It's crazy, right?
I love it.
And then Idris, because apparently they didn't really go into this too much, but apparently that was kind of a big betrayal. Like Idris was supposed to have.
Yeah, we didn't
his
see
back.
much of a friendship with Idris and Theo, like thrown in our face, but we did see them always hanging out together, like in social settings or just like being next to each other. I wish they would have shown a little more of that because Theo was genuinely hurt and upset that Idris voted him in, and I was like, oh fuck, like my boy Theo, Idris, I hate you now. Like get the hell out of here. I wish you were in elimination.
Yeah. Idris actually has like a bit of a smirk later on in the eliminations at Theo's expense, something like that too. So fucking, fuck Idris. I don't even know him,
Yeah.
and now I'm just like,
I don't like him.
you. And then
I don't
finally,
like him.
he was like, I'll go against Rogan as well. So that's fine. So later on, CT does overhear Theo saying he would go against him or whatever, and that little moment, that little kernel, I was like, oh yeah, the old CT is somewhere in all that, dad bod packaging. You know what I mean?
The only time he comes alive is if his name gets mentioned about elimination. It's pissing me the fuck off.
Oh shit.
Like, oh, you're
fine.
just gonna walk away and then Theo says something and now you want to like have an opinion about something that's going on. He comes over trying to like puff his chest out and being like, you got yourself thrown in there, man, because you keep saying stuff and you keep using your mouth. Theo's like, he's like, Theo's like, did I ever say I was the best person here? Well, like, what? You implied it. Cut it out. I don't want to go to elimination. CT, get the hell out of here.
Boston strong, man. Come on. No, it's funny that you give CT that accent because his current one is very weird. It's almost just like, divorced mother, like his voice is very, it's very different. He's actually like 40. He's the age as Mark. Remember that when Mark was like, I'm 40 years old, and you look at CT, you're like, you're 40, you're 40 years old. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Let's talk about the bar. Do we even talk about Rogan's bad lap dance?
That turned up into just his bare ass getting slapped.
Stuck a dollar in the crack. Spat it back out because it was too wrinkly and shit.
I think that's all that needs to be said about that.
All right. Oh, but this was kind of significant for me, and I want to dwell on this. Zach apologizes to Ninja.
Oh yeah.
Was it true? Was it authentic?
I think because I like Zach this season, and I think it's because he watches the show and goes, "Wow, I look like a fucking asshole. I should probably try to, play it a little better for myself, for the viewers, so they don't all hate me."
Yeah.
I think, at least I would be if I was in the show and came off looking like a dick every season. I'd be like, oh, maybe I should, apologize sometimes. But I would like to believe that he's growing as a person and he actually was genuinely genuinely sorry that Ninja was upset with him for how he reacted to her after she went. But I think he reacted fine. I feel Ninja was shitting the bed and someone needed to call her out on it and just kind of let her know, like, hey, what the fuck? What was that? You almost got beat by Esther. What?
Zach is one of the... He's always been an asshole. Like, I knew that about him as soon as I saw him in Battle of the Seasons, where I'm like, oh, God, But he is different this season, and I was like, well, no, it's because they're kind of pushing him in the background, so the only thing he does say is just, like, he calculated, like, hey, I'm a good guy now, you know what I mean? But right. Not really. I think it's because Jenna's not here. And I'm not saying that...
having, like, a better time, just kind of a little more relaxed.
Maybe. Like, every time Jenna was around, Zach was like, oh my God, get me out of here. Like, security, help. You know what I mean? Like, he was always in this shitty mood. And it might be just a nice vacation from Jenna, man. You never know. I always side in Jenna in terms of the Zach and Jenna relationship. Like, if they got a divorce, I would only hang out with Jenna. You know what I mean? I'm Jenna's friend now. I'm like, fuck Zach.
Zach's hanging out with Kyle, and Kyle's my boy these days. I feel like I would be hanging out with Kyle, and then by association, Zach would always be around, so it'd be me hanging out with Kyle and Zach. I feel like that's how it'd be going. Whoever Kyle's around, I'm going to be around. Kyle. We'll be having a grand old time.
Okay. Bananas?
Okay, I guess.
No, I just heard fragments. That's all.
Well, you played off very nicely then.
Okay, I was gonna say, would you prefer me to go like, oh my God, Scott, stop.
Not knowing what I was talking about,
exactly.
And just laughing, and be like, this actually reminds me of the time I was a kid, and get into something really deep, and you're over there. Oh, God damn it, you little. All right, so
Bananas says he'll go to UK.
I like that. I was sitting there like, okay.
Do you believe it? Would you have? Would
I don't know, because he said that and he made me a believer that he was going to, because he was talking about it right before elimination, but then afterwards he starts talking about Leroy and he feels bad that Leroy is there and having to deal with whatever afterwards. So would he really have done it and left Leroy to do whatever on the other side? Maybe he would have tried to get Leroy into elimination to switch over too. I don't know.
Whoa,
but because Leroy has a pretty good shot at coming out of an elimination. He's fairly good at eliminations, but who knows?
That really says something, though, just in general, about how Bananas feels about the numbers. Where it's like, well, fuck, if I am thrown in, fuck the team, because it's pointless to go back there because of the numbers. So I felt that was a little bit telling. Okay, and then finally, Cara Maria fake cries. right? And
I didn't know if you were gonna. I don't have anything to say about that.
No?
She's just no. I'm like whatever. She's just being her, I guess.
This is why we make the big bucks. Oh wait, we don't make big bucks. We don't even make big views. Josh is a hypocrite about targeting teammates. Yeah, that's when Josh. Okay, I guess this was the head scratcher. Basically, this is what stood out. Cara Maria is trying to convince Josh that she is right just for wanting to put in bananas, and then she cries, right? And
Right. This is the whole thing where she was mentioning that everything he's done to me in the past. You take what Wes did to you and just amplify it because it's been years.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, Scott, no, enough. I can't. Oh, my God. Okay, Scott, let's be serious for a second. What was the point? Because she's crying to Josh, who's emotional, right? Is she trying to get his vote or justify, really get it to Josh like, hey, I'm voting in bananas for a reason? Because she cries, goes to the stairwell, turns around, smiles. It was all an act. But why? You're just a fucking sociopath fucking with
Dude,
Josh?
she has to be. I have
Josh
no idea.
has no handle in your vote at all. What was the point?
It really was pointless. Maybe she was just trying to get more airtime, and it worked because she got the airtime right there with all that nonsense that made no sense. Because people came over to Josh like, "What did you say to her, dude?"
Yeah, Ashley
like,
did.
She's
She took out her mace.
crying. It's
Yeah.
like, what? I don't know, dude. She just acted fucking crazy.
Yeah.
She just started crying about, oh.
It was so pointless. I don't understand it. At first I was like, "Oh, you sly fox." Like she pulled something over me, but I like looked back and I'm like, I don't see anything. I don't see anything that she did
Yeah,
really.
like how does that benefit her at all to get Josh to be okay with her voting in John? Was she also trying to, because at this point her and Paulie already knew what they were doing with each other in the vote, so is she just trying to justify Paulie's sudden
Like
vote that Josh
trying to
doesn't
be
know about?
supportive of her
Maybe.
emotionalness or what? I don't know. All right, you ready to fucking get rid of? I was gonna say no, get rid of this episode. That's the way I feel about
Yeah.
it.
Let's get out of here. All right, elimination time.
Yeah, eliminations. Die for me. Before we get into the who goes, what's more exciting? Decide how it works or who's going in. Let's talk about who's going in. Although we already spoiled it. So Jordan votes for Rogan. Cara for bananas. But the way she said it, though, she's like, UK's biggest, strongest player, right?
Player, right?
That was pretty clever, right?
Yeah, it was a nice one. Yeah, I'll give her that. That was pretty good. She got him good there.
And then Paulie with the psych out of like, Rogan, my vote is for bananas.
Right.
No, you gotta. I think I saw.
I wish TJ would have been like, no, you already said Rogan. Rogan, come on down.
No, TJ's gonna try and help bananas even more later, pretty soon. Okay, this is just the
I
tip of
hate
the.
how TJ reacted to Bananas getting called in. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, TJ? Have you not watched the past 5 seasons? This guy fucking sucks.
TJ is like, hey, you guys just put in the best player of all time. You're really gonna hurt yourself. And this is where Cara comes back up, and she's like, he threw the mission, which you don't like, to help the other team, UK. You're American too, TJ. Well, she didn't say all this. This is all me kind of like helping.
I was like, I don't remember this stuff.
Cara's incapable of any of this. But she basically said, you say bananas is the best of all time. Well, I've been in how many finals in a row lately? And when was the last time he was in a final? And I was like, boom.
Major burn.
Two
That was pretty
people
good.
I don't even like go at it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you call that?
Well, I'm glad that she brought it up because TJ was acting like Bananas has done something at all recently.
Yeah.
And he hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, like, why are people promoting a guy who has a show on NBC? First Look. You know what I mean? Like, isn't NBC and MTV kind of at odds with each other in terms of the ratings and shit? It's weird. I don't know. That's the way I see it. You know about First Look, right?
Yeah.
You ever watched
Piece
it?
of shit.
You ever... All right. So let's talk about Die For Me. Right away when they get there, like there's a cage, and Banana's like, Theo,
gosh.
you ain't fitting in that cage. The irony.
That was.
Sweet.
He's just kind of freaking out, like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to get in this cage, aren't I? I'm 6'5".
Yeah, tall motherfucker. And Bananas, I think he's like 5'9", maybe 8, something like that.
I guess. So, like, he's a shorter man than what Theo is. Yeah.
All right. Well,
he'll have a fine time getting into the cage.
So they get into the cage. I
love this elimination, by the way. This was a cool elimination to me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're in cages. They have to roll these cages.
They should have had to eat the ingredients of a cake.
If
you're a It's Always
Roman
Sunny
numerals
fan, you
on
would
them.
know what I'm talking about.
And then they have to stick them onto a little platform. I just described the whole mission. Did you hear any of that? But then they would get to the end, and then when they get to the end, it triggers all of the little balls, or maybe just shoots up some dust in the air.
Yeah, it just no. It's not even all 8. Like you're just putting numbers into Roman numerals.
And then at the end, they sit their cage on a step, and it blows some dust in the air. Yeah.
There's like no enthusiasm. There's no flow to this entire episode where I'm like, we're just limping around. Like, what?
I'm like, dude, this was my favorite elimination. I love it. Yeah, so then at the end, they just sit onto a little platform and it busts up some dust, I guess.
All right, well, what was interesting about this was, I mean, the only thing I want to talk about, honestly, is TJ. TJ's involvement in this. How do you feel about that? Like, are they just reacting to the Laurel thing, the controversy, or are they just like, well, we were always going to have TJ inspect that people got something wrong, or if they didn't?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, because what if Theo had done that? Would he have let him finish and then go, sorry, you didn't get these two correct. Now you'll have to finish them now, or the other person just wins since they already got it completed? I like that he was inspecting him and let him know, but I just don't think they would do that for every elimination. Have they done that in the past? I don't know if they ever really needed something like that to be checked as they went on with it. But
not at all.
TJ seemed upset that Bananas was going in with all that speech he gave, so maybe he was just trying to be like, yo, dude, hey, you forgot these. Let's fix it. You got to beat them, man.
Yeah. I mean, in the past, if I could think of anything, they would say, like, that is incorrect, and it's up to the player to figure out what the fuck they got wrong. TJ says, you got 7 and 6 are mixed up. You have to change those, bro.
Well, it looked like John was going to win, so if he didn't mix those up, it seemed like he was going to win. And I would never, like, the moment Theo was going into elimination, I don't care who else was in there with him, I do not want Theo to leave at all. He's my number one guy in this show at this moment. That's how much I love Theo. And I don't know why. I just love how he is. And when any conversation he's having or anytime he's talking to anybody, I'm just like, I fucking love this dude. I love everything he's saying back. I support him. So I don't know if I support the 7-minute long elimination speech. I would have took him to the side after and been like, what the fuck was that? That didn't help. So maybe not do that next time.
You're basically Bear. I mean, that's the sort of friendship that Bear has for Theo, man.
Yeah, essentially.
You're Bear.
I'm Bear.
The true grizzly bear. Look at that beard. Oh, yeah, the audience, the listeners can't see the beard that Scott's got rocking. But, we got the fall coming in. Hunting season just around the corner. Anyways, Theo fucking wins. Bananas, in a last attempt at any kind of anything, screen presence, he takes his shirt off. Like, here, I'm an honorary UK American.
I was going to change over here. You were going to get a player no matter what. Here's my sweaty ass shirt, Theo. Thanks, mate. What the fuck? The hell out of here. You
Didn't it
lost.
just seem desperate? Like, oh, I'm gonna take my shirt off. Oh my god.
I don't know what it seemed unnecessary.
And it also again, Bananas has been losing. But okay, so the last part is Theo says, "I'm gonna stay in the UK for now." For now, he threw that in there, and for me, I would have been like, "What the fuck, dude?"
I don't I don't know why he's staying.
Yeah,
The majority is against you. If you go to the other team, they recognize how good you are. They're not going to be throwing you into the fuck. They wanted to throw you in no matter what because you are that good. They want to get the top dogs out. They are not going to throw you in if you go over to the American side. At least I don't think they would. They would at least throw Josh in
yeah,
before him.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. So he could have switched, and it would have been totally justified. And yeah, he probably would have been safe, and like people would have appreciated his talent. So
Well, what's strange is that after he won too, he goes back over to the group. Everyone's hugging Theo and all these people. I'm like, okay, I'm confused. I know he eliminated someone on the American side, so that's cool. But like, if you guys love him this much, why are you sending him in? Don't send him in again. Theo's the man. Don't do it. Don't do it to him, and don't do it to me as a viewer.
all
God
right,
damn it.
good for Theo. Defeated a star in Kyle last season and a fucking champ in this season, man. Um, yeah, we're gonna fucking end it. Like, subscribe, comment.
I know you're gonna be smiling when you do. All right, let's go ahead and end this. You've been trying to end it.
Battle of the
Okay.
Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And Scott Allwood,
Bye.
bye.